The 12 Alchemical Laws of Sacred Commerce, a guide to selling with integrity, the great conflict of the soulful entrepreneur. Are you tired of feeling that subtle, sickening knot in your stomach when it comes time to promote your services? That quiet, nagging voice that whispers, "You're not a salesperson," or worse, "If this work is truly spiritual, you shouldn't have to ask for money." You possess a gift, a calling, a service you know can change lives, and yet you are paralyzed by an invisible wall, a deep internal conflict between your profound spiritual values and the practical demands of building a business. You fear that in order to succeed you must become someone you are not, that you must compromise your integrity, sacrifice your soul. But what if I told you that this conflict is a profound illusion? What if sales were not about persuasion, but about truth? Not about manipulation, but about sacred invitation. Welcome, fellow alchemist, to a journey of profound transformation. My name is Elias Vance, and together we are here to dismantle that illusion. We are here to alchemize the lead of commercial anxiety into the gold of sacred commerce. This audiobook is not a collection of marketing hacks or closing techniques. It is a spiritual framework, a codex of principles designed to bring your business practices into perfect, resonant alignment with your deepest spiritual truths. You will not learn how to sell more. You will learn how to serve deeper. And in that service, you will find an abundance you never thought possible. An abundance that feels clean, earned, and utterly congruent with who you are. This is a journey into the heart of authentic marketing. It is a path to financial freedom that does not require you to sacrifice your soul, but instead demands that you bring its fullest expression into every single interaction. Stay with me through this entire guide, for each law builds upon the last, creating an unbreakable foundation for a business that is not just successful, but sacred. Let us begin. Chapter 1. The First Law. Commerce as Sacred Dialogue. To begin our journey, we must first address the foundational wound that plagues so many conscious entrepreneurs. It is the belief that commerce and spirituality are opposing forces destined to be forever at odds. We see spirituality as pure, selfless, and transcendent, while we view commerce as transactional, self-interested, and fundamentally worldly. This perceived duality is the source of all guilt, all hesitation, and all resistance you feel when it comes to selling your services. It is the great lie that keeps you small. The first alchemical law, therefore, is the most critical. You must reframe commerce not as a transaction, but as a sacred dialogue. What does this mean? A transaction is an exchange of value for money. It is impersonal. A dialogue, however, is an exchange of energy, understanding, and presence. It is relational. When you approach a potential client with the mindset of closing a sale, your energy is focused on an outcome. It is inherently self-serving, even if your intentions are good. The client can feel this. They feel the subtle pressure, the energetic hook of your desire, and their natural response is to pull back, to guard themselves. This is the energy of manipulation. But when you approach them with the intention of opening a sacred dialogue, your entire energetic posture shifts. Your goal is no longer to get something from them, but to create something with them. Your primary objective becomes understanding, connection, seeing them in their truth. You are not there to sell a product. You are there to bear witness to a need and to determine if what you offer is in true alignment with that need. It is a shift from conquest to communion. I remember speaking with a client, a gifted energy healer named Clara. She was brilliant. Her clients had profound breakthroughs, but her business was perpetually struggling. She confessed to me, "Elias, I feel like a fraud every time I tell someone my rates. It feels like I'm putting a price tag on spirit." Her conflict was palpable. We worked together, and the breakthrough came when she stopped seeing her sessions as something she was selling. Instead, we reframed it as her opening a space for a sacred dialogue about healing, and her fee was simply an energetic exchange to honor the sanctity and commitment required for that space to exist. It wasn't a fee for the healing, it was a fee for the dedicated, protected container in which healing could occur. Her entire business transformed. Why? Because her invitations were no longer tainted with the energy of guilt. They were infused with the clear, confident energy of sacred purpose. This is the first and most vital transmutation you must undertake. Look at every marketing email, every social media post, every discovery call, not as a tool for conversion, but as an invitation to dialogue. Your role is not to be a salesperson. Your role is to be a guide, a listener, a trusted confidant who holds a space for another soul to explore their challenges and desires. So, how do you begin to practice this? It starts with your intention. Before you write a single piece of marketing copy, before you step onto a call, close your eyes, take a breath, and set a single intention. My purpose here is to understand and connect, not to persuade. My purpose is to create a space for truth to emerge. Feel that intention in your body. Let it calm your nervous system. Let it dissolve the desperate energy of needing the sale. You are no longer a hunter. You are a lighthouse. You are not chasing ships. You are shining a light so that the right ships can find their way to your harbor. This shift changes everything. It changes the questions you ask. Instead of, "What are your pain points?" which is a marketer's term, your energy asks, "What is the deepest longing of your heart right now? What obstacle is causing you the most suffering?" Instead of, "What is your budget?" your energy asks, "What is the value you place on solving this challenge?" The dialogue becomes a shared exploration, a co-creative process. This is not a passive approach. It is profoundly powerful. When a potential client feels truly seen, heard, and understood without any agenda from you, a bond of trust is forged that no sales script on earth can replicate. They lower their defenses because they feel safe. And in that space of safety, they can make a clear, empowered decision about whether to work with you. A decision free from pressure and rooted in genuine resonance. And here is the beautiful paradox. When you fully release the need to make the sale, you become infinitely more magnetic. Your presence becomes a service in and of itself. People are drawn to those who are not trying to take from them, but are simply present with them. This is the essence of sacred commerce. It is a dialogue between two souls, one of whom has a map and the other of whom is seeking a new destination. Your only job is to show them the map with honesty and clarity, and then allow them to choose their own path. This is the first law. It is the foundation upon which all others are built. Chapter 2. The second law. Listening as the ultimate marketing. Tool in the world of conventional marketing, we are taught to speak, to craft the perfect message, to broadcast our value proposition, to shout our benefits from the rooftops. The focus is on output, on transmission. We believe that the more eloquently we describe what we do, the more clients we will attract. And so, we spend countless hours perfecting our elevator pitch, writing persuasive copy, and designing beautiful websites, all in an effort to be heard. But in the realm of sacred commerce, this is an inversion of the truth. The second alchemical law states, deep radical listening is the most potent and ethical marketing tool you will ever possess. The desire to be seen, heard, and understood is one of the most fundamental human needs. Yet in our noisy, fast-paced world, it is the rarest of gifts. Most communication is not true listening. It is simply waiting for our turn to speak. We listen with an agenda. We listen for an opening to insert our solution. We filter everything we hear through the lens of, how can I use this information to close the deal? This is not listening. It is data extraction. And your potential clients can feel the difference, even if they can't articulate it. Sacred listening, or what I call alchemical listening, is an entirely different practice. It is the act of emptying yourself of your own agenda to create a pristine space for another person's truth to unfold. It is listening not just to their words, but to the silence between the words. It is listening to the emotion, the energy, the hesitation, the hope. It is listening with your entire being, your ears, your heart, and your intuition. When you practice this form of listening, you are giving the other person a profound gift. You are communicating non-verbally, you matter. Your story is safe here. I'm not here to judge you or fix you, but to understand you. This act, in and of itself, is deeply healing. It builds a foundation of trust so strong that the sale becomes a natural, effortless conclusion rather than a forced outcome. I once worked with a financial advisor, a brilliant man named David, who was struggling to connect with clients. His presentations were flawless, his data was impeccable, but people were hesitant to sign on. He came to me frustrated. I'm giving them the perfect logical solution, Elias. Why don't they trust me? I asked him to describe his process. He would let the client talk for 5 minutes about their problems, and then he would spend the next 55 minutes presenting his detailed, pre-prepared solution. He was transmitting, not listening. I challenged him to try an experiment. For his next client meeting, he was forbidden from opening his laptop or presenting anything for the first 45 minutes. His only job was to ask questions and listen. Not just any questions, but deep, open-ended questions. What does financial freedom truly feel like to you? What was the story you learned about money as a child? If all your money worries disappeared tonight, what would you do tomorrow morning? He was terrified. He felt he would have nothing to offer. He called me the next day, his voice buzzing with energy. Elias, it was unbelievable. The woman cried. She said no one had ever asked her those questions. By the time I finally shared how I could help, she didn't even ask about my fees. She just said, I know you're the one. When can we start? Indeed, he discovered the alchemical power of listening. By making the client the hero of the story, he became the trusted guide they had been searching for. He stopped selling financial plans and started serving human souls. So how can you cultivate this practice? First, you must cultivate presence. Before a conversation, take a moment to ground yourself. Release your preconceived notions about who this person is and what they need. Set the intention to be a clear channel for listening. Second, master the art of the clarifying question. Instead of assuming you understand, say, can you tell me more about that? Or what I hear you saying is, have I got that right? This shows you are engaged and that their accuracy matters to you. It makes them feel cherished. Third, listen for the underlying emotion, not just the surface-level problem. When someone says, "I'm struggling to grow my business," they aren't just talking about revenue. They are talking about their fear of failure, their desire for security, their dream of making an impact. Speak to the emotion. That sounds incredibly frustrating and disheartening. This empathetic validation is what creates true connection. It shows you see the person, not just the problem. When you master alchemical listening, your marketing becomes effortless. Your content will practically write itself because you will know with intimate certainty the precise language, fears, and dreams of your ideal clients. Your sales conversations will cease to feel like sales and will instead feel like deeply rewarding co-creative explorations. You will no longer need to convince anyone of your value, because in the act of listening, you will have already demonstrated it in the most profound way possible. You will show them that you are not just another vendor trying to make a sale, but a rare and trusted ally dedicated to their true transformation. This is the power of the second law. Chapter 3. The third law. Shifting from persuasion to honest revelation. We have laid the foundation. We understand that commerce can be a sacred dialogue and that deep listening is our most potent tool. Now we must address the engine that drives conventional sales, persuasion. The very word can feel heavy, manipulative. It implies a subtle force, an attempt to bend another's will to align with our own. It is born from the belief that the other person does not inherently know what is best for them, and that we must convince them. This belief, however well-intentioned, is a form of energetic arrogance. It creates resistance and distrust. The third alchemical law requires a radical shift away from this model. It states, your task is not to persuade, but to reveal. Imagine you are the curator of a magnificent art gallery. The gallery contains a single, breathtaking masterpiece, the transformation you offer. A potential visitor enters, uncertain. They have heard about art. They are curious, but they are also skeptical. What is your role? Is it to grab them by the arm, drag them to the painting, and shout about its brilliant brushstrokes and historical significance until they agree that it is, indeed, a masterpiece? No, that would be absurd. It would cheapen the art and insult the visitor. Your role as a curator is far more elegant and powerful. You create the perfect environment. You ensure the lighting is just right. You provide a small, beautifully written plaque that shares the story of the piece, its origin, its meaning, its power. And then you step back. You create a space of quiet reverence and allow the visitor to have their own personal experience with the art. You are not persuading them of its value. You are simply revealing its truth in the clearest, most honest way possible, and trusting them to recognize its resonance for themselves. This is the mindset of honest revelation. It is an energy of profound confidence, not the loud, boisterous confidence of a street merchant, but the quiet, deep certainty of a master craftsperson. You know the quality of your work. You know the transformation it creates. You have no need to convince anyone. Your only responsibility is to reveal it with clarity and integrity. This shift from persuasion to revelation has a profound effect on your communication. A persuader uses leading questions, creates false urgency, and focuses on overcoming objections. A revealer, on the other hand, asks open questions, honors the other person's timing, and welcomes objections as opportunities for deeper clarification. An objection is not a wall to be smashed through. It is a doorway into understanding the other person's fears and hesitations more clearly. When a potential client says, "It's too expensive," the persuader hears an obstacle and immediately launches into a defense of the value, a justification of the price. The revealer hears a story. They hear, "I have a belief that I am not worthy of this investment," or "I have a fear that I won't get the results, and I will have wasted this money." And so, the revealer responds not with a defense, but with a gentle inquiry. "Thank you for sharing that. Tell me more about what expensive means for you in this context. What is the fear that's coming up around this investment? Do you feel the difference?" The first approach creates an adversarial dynamic. The second deepens the sacred dialogue. You are no longer trying to win an argument. You are working together to uncover the truth. So the practical application of this law is to ground yourself in the truth of your offer. Before you speak with a potential client, take a moment to write down what I call a statement of revelation. It should be a simple, clear and honest sentence that captures the essence of the transformation you facilitate. Not marketing copy, just the truth. For example, I create a space for women to heal their relationship with their bodies. I guide people from financial confusion to a state of empowered clarity. I build beautiful, functional websites that help healers share their gifts with the world. This statement is your anchor. It is the masterpiece in your gallery. When the conversation becomes difficult, when your own self-doubt creeps in, you return to this simple, powerful truth. Your job is not to sell it. Your job is only to reveal it, to hold it up to the light so that the person you are speaking with can see it clearly, and then, with their own free will, decide if it is the masterpiece they have been searching for. This is the path of integrity. This is the power of revelation. Chapter 4. The Fourth Law. Your offer as an act of service. We now arrive at the very heart of the conflict for so many spiritual entrepreneurs. The exchange of money itself, the guilt, the shame, the quiet belief that if our work is truly a gift from Spirit, it should be given freely. This belief, while seemingly noble, is a profound misunderstanding of the nature of energy. It is a spiritual distortion that keeps countless gifted healers, coaches, and artists trapped in a cycle of scarcity, unable to fully share their gifts with the world because they cannot sustain themselves in the process. The fourth alchemical law is designed to heal this wound. It is the understanding that your offer is not a product to be sold. It is the sacred vessel for your act of service. Let's explore this distinction. A product is a thing, impersonal, transactional. But your work is not a thing. It is a transmission of your energy, your wisdom, your presence, and your expertise. It is a living, breathing act of service. The money that is exchanged is not a price tag on that service. You cannot put a price on healing, on clarity, on transformation. It is impossible. Instead, the fee is an energetic exchange to honor the container. It honors the years of your life you have dedicated to honing your craft. It honors the investments you have made in your own training and development. It honors the electricity that keeps the lights on in your office, the technology that allows you to connect with people, and the food that nourishes your body so you have the strength to show up fully and serve. The money does not pay for the magic. It sustains the magician so they can continue to create. I remember working with a young shamanic practitioner who was deeply gifted, but refused to charge more than a pittance for his work. He told me, "The spirits work through me, Elias. The healing is their gift, not mine. How can I charge for it?" He was exhausted, working a full-time job he hated just to support his healing practice. His service to the world was relegated to nights and weekends. He was a constricted channel. I offered him a thought experiment. "Imagine," I said, "a beautiful, life-giving well in the center of a village. The water in the well is a free gift from the earth. It is pure, healing, and available to all. But there is a well keeper. His job is to maintain the well, to keep the water clean, to ensure the bucket and rope are strong, and to be there to help the elderly and the infirm draw their water." "Does the well keeper charge for the water?" "No," he replied, his eyes widening. "Exactly," I said. "He cannot charge for the water. The water is a gift. But the villagers gladly give him food and clothing and shelter in exchange for his service as the keeper. They are not paying for the water. They are honoring the man who dedicates his life to ensuring they can access it. You are not a seller of spiritual water. You are the keeper of a sacred well." This realization changed everything for him. He tripled his rates, quit his job within 6 months, and now serves his community full-time. The well is no longer a hobby. It's a thriving, life-giving centerpiece of his world, and by extension, the world of those he serves. You must make this same shift. Stop seeing your coaching package, your course, your session as a product. See it as the beautiful, well-crafted container that allows you to deliver your service. The fee is a statement of mutual respect. The client is saying, "I respect and value the container you are providing for my transformation so much that I will make this energetic exchange." And you are saying, "I respect and value my own well-being and sustainability enough to require this exchange, so that I may continue to serve from a place of abundance, not depletion." Here is a practice to help you embody this law. Take out a journal. At the top of the page, write down one of your offers. Below it, I want you to list every single thing that goes into creating and holding the container for that offer. Not just the hour you spend with the client. List the years of study, the books you've read, the courses you've taken, the personal healing you've done, the rent for your office, the software you pay for, the time you spend preparing and the time you spend integrating afterwards, the emotional energy you expend. As you look at this list, allow yourself to feel the truth. This is a profound offering of your life force. The fee is not a measure of the client's worth or your worth. It is a simple, clean, and necessary energetic circuit that allows the flow of service to continue. When you understand this truly and deeply, the guilt dissolves. It is replaced by a quiet dignity. The dignity of the well-keeper, standing in humble, loving service. Chapter 5. The fifth law. The language of aligned clarity words are not passive descriptors of reality. They are active creators of reality. The words you choose to describe your work, to invite people into your world, and to conduct your sacred dialogues are imbued with a specific energetic frequency. The language of hustle, pressure, and scarcity creates a reality of struggle and resistance. The language of service, invitation, and trust creates a reality of flow and alignment. The fifth alchemical law, therefore, is this: you must consciously choose to speak the language of aligned clarity. This is about more than just avoiding aggressive sales jargon. It is about a fundamental commitment to using language that is both 100% true and emotionally resonant with the transformation you provide. Aligned language has two key qualities: precision and purity. Precision means you are crystal clear about who you serve and what you help them achieve. Vague, fuzzy language is a sign of a lack of confidence. Phrases like, "I help people live their best lives," or "I'm a transformational coach," are well-intentioned but ultimately meaningless. They create confusion, not connection. Precision sounds like, "I help women in their 40s navigate major life transitions with grace and self-trust," or "I teach small business owners how to manage their finances in a way that feels peaceful and empowering." This clarity acts as a powerful filter. It gently repels those who are not a good fit and magnetizes those who are, because they feel instantly seen and understood. It says, "I know you. I built this for you." Purity means your language is free from the energy of manipulation, hype, or false promises. It speaks to the soul, not just the ego. Consider the difference in these two invitations. Invitation A, the language of hype. Don't miss out on this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to 10x your income and crush your goals. Limited spots available, so you have to act now before it's too late. Invitation B, the language of aligned clarity. If you feel a calling to build a business that is both prosperous and deeply aligned with your soul, I have created a space for you. This is an invitation to a journey of growth and discovery. We will begin when you feel the time is right. Which one feels better in your body? Which one builds trust? Invitation uses the language of fear, fear of missing out, fear of scarcity. It is designed to trigger an impulsive, ego-driven decision. Invitation B uses the language of resonance. It empowers the individual to check in with their own inner guidance. It trusts that the right people will feel the pull at the right time. One of my clients, a meditation teacher, was struggling. His website was filled with language he had borrowed from marketing gurus. It talked about hacking your brain and achieving peak performance, but it felt utterly disconnected from the gentle, profound peace he offered in his sessions. His language was out of alignment with his service. We went through his entire website and replaced every single word that felt dissonant. Hacking your brain became nurturing your inner stillness. Peak performance became living with greater presence. The visual design didn't change. The offers didn't change. Only the words changed. Within a month, his inquiries doubled. And more importantly, he said, "The people who are calling me now get it." The conversations are so much easier. He had started speaking the native language of his soul tribe, and they had finally recognized his call. Your work today is to become a detective of your own language. Go through your website, your social media profiles, your email templates. Read the words aloud. How do they feel in your mouth? How do they land in your heart? Circle every word or phrase that feels even slightly manipulative, exaggerated, or inauthentic. Words like secret, hack, guaranteed, unleash instantly, then replace them. Replace them with words that reflect the true nature of your work. Invitation, exploration, journey, discovery, alignment, resonance, clarity, support, guidance. This is not about making your language weaker. It is about making it truer. The truth has a power and a resonance that no hype can ever match. When your words are in perfect alignment with the energy of your service, you don't need to shout. A whisper is more than enough to be heard by those who are truly listening for you. Chapter 6. The Sixth Law. Embodying unshakable belief in your value, you can have the most aligned language, the most honorable intentions, and the most sacred framework. But if you do not fundamentally believe in the value of what you offer, none of it will matter. A potential client is not just buying your program, your course, or your time. They are buying your certainty. They are borrowing your belief in their potential until they can hold it for themselves. If your own belief is shaky, what are they really buying? The sixth alchemical law is perhaps the most internal and the most challenging. It is the law of embodiment. The confidence a client has in you will never exceed the confidence you have in yourself. Your energetic state is the loudest thing you communicate in any interaction. It is a broadcast that precedes your words. If you enter a sales conversation feeling apologetic, hesitant, or insecure about your fee, the client will feel it. They may not know what's wrong, but they will feel a sense of dissonance, a lack of safety. Their subconscious mind will register, "This person is not certain, so how can I be certain in them?" This is the silent deal-breaker that undermines so many gifted practitioners. I once knew a therapist who was, without a doubt, one of the most skilled clinicians I had ever met. Her insights were profound, but she was constantly struggling with imposter syndrome. She lived in fear of being found out, despite her years of training and her incredible track record of success. When she would state her fee, her voice would get a little softer, her eyes would dart away. It was a tiny, almost imperceptible signal, but it was a broadcast of doubt. And so, clients would haggle or question her value or decide to think about it. They were simply mirroring the doubt she was projecting. The inner work she had to do was not on her sales script. It was on her self-worth. It was about alchemizing that inner critic into an inner ally. Embodying unshakable belief is not about arrogance or ego. It is about a quiet, grounded knowing. It is the deep, cellular understanding that you have been uniquely equipped with a set of gifts, experiences and skills, and that you are a powerful and effective channel for the transformation you facilitate. So, how do we cultivate this embodiment? It is a practice, not a destination. First, you must become a collector of evidence. Create what I call a book of gold. This can be a physical journal or a digital document. In it, you will meticulously record every single piece of positive feedback you receive, every client win, no matter how small, every email of gratitude, every testimonial. Before any sales conversation, you are to read from your book of gold. You are to bathe your consciousness in the undeniable truth of your impact. This is not about inflating your ego. It's about reminding your nervous system of the reality of your value. Second, you must practice energetic rehearsal. Before a call, don't just rehearse what you will say. Rehearse how you will feel. Find a quiet space. Close your eyes. Imagine the conversation unfolding perfectly. Feel the sensation of calm, grounded confidence in your body. Feel the deep sense of service in your heart. Feel the ease and grace with which you state your fee. Feel the client's joyful and enthusiastic yes. By rehearsing the energetic state, you are training your body to recognize it as a familiar and safe place. You are creating the reality in your inner world before it manifests in the outer. Third, you must heal your relationship with your own pricing. Your fee is not a question. It is a statement. When you state your price, your job is to say the number with calm, loving neutrality, and then to fall silent. This silence is the most powerful space you can hold. Do not rush to fill it. Do not justify, explain, or defend. Your silence communicates confidence. It communicates that you believe in the value and it creates a sacred space for the other person to sit with their own decision-making process. If this principle of embodiment is resonating with you, and you know someone else who is struggling with self-doubt in their own sacred work, take a moment now to share this guide with them. The journey of building inner belief is always easier when we walk it together, reflecting each other's light back to ourselves. Remember, your certainty is a service. It is the firm, steady ground upon which your clients can stand as they take their own courageous leap of faith. Chapter 7. The Seventh Law. The principle of energetic integrity. In every interaction, there are two conversations happening simultaneously. There is the verbal conversation, the words being spoken, and there is the energetic conversation, the truth being felt. When these two conversations are in alignment, trust is created. When they are out of alignment, dissonance is created. This is the essence of integrity. Integrity is not just about being an honest person. It's about being a whole, integrated person, where your thoughts, words, feelings, and actions are all in resonant alignment. The seventh alchemical law flows directly from this understanding. Every aspect of your business must be in energetic integrity with the transformation you promise. This principle extends far beyond the sales conversation itself. It touches every single touch point a potential client has with your work. Your website, your social media presence, your onboarding process, your client agreements, your billing practices, every single detail is a part of the energetic conversation. Each one is either building trust or subtly eroding it. Let me give you a tangible example. I once encountered a spiritual coach whose brand was all about helping people find clarity and peace. Her message was beautiful, but her website was a chaotic mess. It was difficult to navigate, links were broken, and her scheduling system was confusing and prone to errors. The verbal promise was clarity and peace, but the energetic experience was confusion and frustration. This is a breach of energetic integrity. It creates a subconscious seed of doubt in the potential client's mind. If she can't manage the details of her own website, can I really trust her to help me manage the details of my life? Another example is the practitioner who speaks of abundance and flow, but whose billing practices are rigid, punitive, and unforgiving. Or the healer who preaches self-care, but is constantly replying to emails at 2 a.m, projecting an energy of burnout and poor boundaries. The message and the medium are in conflict, and the client will always trust the energy of the medium more than the words of the message. Achieving energetic integrity requires a ruthless and loving audit of your entire business ecosystem. You must look at every process, every system, and every communication through a single lens. Does this feel like the transformation I promise? If you promise simplicity, is your booking process simple? If you promise empowerment, does your client agreement feel collaborative and respectful, or does it feel restrictive and mistrustful? If you promise presence, do you have clear boundaries around your communication so that when you are with a client, they have your undivided attention? If you promise prosperity, is your own financial house in order? Are your invoices clear, professional, and easy to pay? I worked with a writer who helped people tell their authentic stories. Yet his own About Me page was stiff, professional, and written in the third person. It lacked the very vulnerability he was promising to help others find. It was a huge integrity breach. Our first and only task was for him to rewrite that single page with radical honesty and heart. He wrote about his struggles, his triumphs, his love for the craft. He put his own soul on the page. That single change created a massive upswing in the quality of clients he attracted. Why? Because he was finally modeling the very thing he was selling. His energy and his words were now one. This is your work. To walk through your business as if you were a potential client. Experience every step of the journey, from first discovering you, to booking a call, to paying an invoice. Where do you feel a sense of ease, flow, and trust? Where do you feel a subtle snag, a moment of friction or confusion? Every single snag is an opportunity. It is a place where you are leaking trust. And your mission is to lovingly seal those leaks one by one until your entire business becomes a single, coherent, powerful broadcast of the very transformation you promise to deliver. This is energetic integrity. It is the silent, unshakable foundation upon which a truly sacred business is built. Chapter 8. The Eighth Law. Trust as the foundation of abundance. In the world of conventional business, we are taught to focus on metrics, conversion rates, lead generation, customer acquisition cost. These are the supposed building blocks of success. But in sacred commerce, these are merely symptoms. They are the secondary effects of a much deeper, more fundamental force. If you focus only on the metrics, you are like a gardener who counts leaves instead of tending to the roots. The eighth alchemical law brings our focus back to the source, to the soil from which all sustainable growth emerges. Your primary goal is never the sale. It is always the creation of trust. Trust is the currency of the soul. It is the invisible medium through which all true connection and transformation flows. Without trust, even the most brilliant strategy will fail. With trust, even the most imperfect strategy can succeed. When you make the creation of trust your unwavering North Star, every decision becomes simpler and clearer. This means you will sometimes have to make choices that seem counterintuitive from a purely transactional perspective. It means telling a potential client, based on what you've told me, I don't believe I'm the right person to help you right now. But I know someone who is. It means referring them to another practitioner, forfeiting the immediate sale, because your commitment to their highest good is greater than your commitment to your own revenue. This act, which looks like a loss on a spreadsheet, is a massive deposit into the bank of trust. That person will never forget your integrity. They will become your greatest advocate, sending you perfectly aligned clients for years to come. I remember early in my own journey, a man came to me wanting to work on his wealth consciousness. But as we spoke, it became clear to me that he was in the throes of a deep, unaddressed grief from the loss of his wife a year prior. His financial issues were a symptom, not the core wound. I could have signed him up. He was ready to pay. But I gently stopped the conversation and said, I can feel how much pain you are in. And while we could work on the money piece, I truly believe the most powerful work for you right now is to find a space to move through this grief. There is a wonderful grief counselor I know. May I make an introduction? He was silent for a moment, and then he simply said, Thank you. No one has been that honest with me. He went to the counselor. A year later, he came back to me. He said, I'm ready now. The work we did together was profound because it was built on a foundation of unshakable trust. I had shown him I cared more about him than his money. Building trust is a long game. It is the opposite of the get-rich-quick mentality. It is about planting trees whose shade you may not sit in for several seasons. You do this through consistency, showing up regularly with valuable insights and a generous spirit, with no expectation of immediate return. You do this through transparency, being honest about what you can and cannot do. You do this through vulnerability, sharing your own relevant struggles and humanity, which allows others to see themselves in you. And most importantly, you do this by always honoring your word. If you say you will send a follow-up email, you send it. If you promise a certain outcome, you do everything in your power to deliver it. Every promise kept is a brick in the foundation of trust. Every promise broken is a crack. So for every business decision that crosses your desk today, from how you write an email to how you structure an offer, ask yourself this one question: will this build trust or will it erode it? Let that be your guide. Let that be your filter. Stop chasing clients. Stop chasing sales. Chase trust. Nurture it. Protect it. Prioritize it above all else, because a business built on a shallow foundation of transactions may stand for a season, but a business built on the deep, solid bedrock of trust will stand for a lifetime. It becomes more than a business. It becomes a legacy. It becomes a sanctuary that people seek out not just for what you sell, but for how you make them feel safe, seen, and deeply trusted. Chapter 9. The Ninth Law. Transmuting the fear of rejection. There is an ancient, primal fear that lives within all of us. It is the fear of being cast out, of being told no, of being deemed unworthy by the tribe. It is the fear of rejection. For the spiritual entrepreneur, this fear can be particularly acute, because we are not just selling a product. We are offering a piece of our heart, our soul. When someone says no to our offer, it can feel like they are saying no to us. This fear can be paralyzing. It can cause us to procrastinate on our marketing, to undercharge for our services, and to shrink back from opportunities, all to avoid the potential sting of that two-letter word. The ninth alchemical law is about facing this dragon and transforming its fire into fuel. It is the profound understanding that no is not a rejection. It is a redirection. This is not just a clever affirmation. It is a fundamental truth about energy and alignment. When someone says no to you, they are not making a statement about your worth. They are simply stating that, at this moment in time, there is not a sufficient energetic resonance between their need and your offer. That is all. A no is not a judgment. It is simply a piece of data. It is the universe providing you with clarity. I had a client once, a brilliant artist, who was terrified of approaching galleries. Each potential no felt like a devastating critique of her very soul. We worked together to reframe it. A no from a gallery was not a verdict on her art. It was simply information. It could mean no, not right now, because their exhibition schedule is full. No, not a fit for our specific style, because they specialize in abstract sculpture and she paints impressionist landscapes. No, the person you spoke to was having a bad day and didn't have the capacity to truly see your work. None of these meanings had anything to do with her talent or the value of her art. They were all about circumstance and alignment. When she truly integrated this, she became fearless. She started seeing the process as a game of energetic matchmaking. Her job was simply to make the invitations. The universe's job was to handle the RSVPs. Her joy was in the act of sharing her work, not in the outcome of any single interaction. We must alchemize the pain of rejection by separating our worth from our work. Your inherent worth as a soul is infinite, unconditional, and not up for debate. Your work is an expression of that soul, but it is not the soul itself. A no to your offer is not and can never be a no to your worth. So how do we practice this transmutation? First, we must honor the feeling. When you receive a no and you feel that sting of disappointment or shame, do not push it away. Acknowledge it. Breathe into it. Say to yourself, there is that old fear. I feel it. It is okay. By simply acknowledging the feeling without judgment, you rob it of its power to control you. Second, we must practice intentional reframing. Immediately after acknowledging the feeling, consciously choose a new thought. My favorite is, "Thank you for this clarity," or "Excellent. This person is not my soulmate client," which means this no is clearing the path for the yes that is waiting for me. Or, this no is not a rejection, it is divine protection, guiding me away from a misaligned assignment. Third, celebrate the no's. This might sound crazy, but it is a powerful way to rewire your brain. Decide that for every 5 no's you receive, you will treat yourself to something wonderful. This gamifies the process. It changes no from a symbol of failure into a milestone on the path to success. It incentivizes the very act of courage you are trying to cultivate, the act of putting yourself out there. I want you to pause and reflect on this. In the comments below, share one way you are going to reframe rejection in your life and business, declaring it as a powerful alchemical act. By sharing your new perspective, you not only solidify it for yourself, but also give permission to others in this community to do the same. Remember, every no you receive is a sacred course correction. It is the universe lovingly nudging you, saying, "Not this way, my child. Your people are over here." When you can learn to see no, not as a wall, but as a signpost, you become unstoppable. You are free to share your gifts boldly, joyfully, and without attachment, knowing that every interaction, regardless of the outcome, is guiding you ever closer to those you are truly meant to serve. Chapter 10, the 10th Law, Compassion as Your Closing. Tool in traditional sales, the close is often depicted as a moment of pressure, a final push to get the client across the finish line. It involves techniques for overcoming objections and creating urgency. It is a battle of wills. This entire paradigm is built on a foundation of force and is utterly out of integrity with the principles of sacred commerce. There is no closing in our work, for that implies shutting a door. There is only opening a path, opening a possibility. The 10th alchemical law replaces pressure with presence. It states that compassion is your most powerful and ethical closing tool. What does this mean? It means that at the moment of decision, when the client is standing on the precipice, feeling all of their fear, doubt, and hope, your job is not to push them. Your job is to meet them there with profound compassion. Your job is to create a space of such immense safety that they can make the most empowered and aligned decision for themselves. Whether that decision is a yes or a no, compassion in this context is the ability to see and feel the world from the client's perspective. It's the ability to recognize that their hesitation is not about you. It's about them. It's about their past experiences where they invested in themselves and were disappointed. It's about the stories they carry, about not being worthy or capable of change. It's about their very real and valid fear of the unknown. When you can see this, your entire energy shifts. You are no longer an adversary trying to overcome their objections. You are an ally, sitting on the same side of the table, helping them navigate their own inner landscape. So when a client says, "I need to think about it," the traditional salesperson feels a sense of panic and tries to counter it. What is there to think about? This offer is only good for today. The soulful entrepreneur, operating from compassion, hears the fear beneath the words. They respond with softness. "Of course, I completely understand. This is a significant decision. What feelings are coming up for you as you consider this? What is the part of you that is hesitating, and what does it need to feel safe? Do you see the profound difference? The first response creates pressure. The second creates partnership. The first is about your timeline. The second is about their soul's timing. A client of mine, a life coach, used to dread the end of her sales calls. She felt she had to be strong and convincing. I taught her to reframe it as the moment of sacred witnessing. Her only job was to witness the client in their decision-making process with as much love and non-judgment as possible. On her next call, a woman was deeply hesitant. Instead of pushing, my client said, "It sounds like there is a part of you that is really scared right now. Can we just take a moment to honor that part? It has probably been working very hard to keep you safe your whole life. Let's just thank it for its service." The woman on the other end of the phone began to weep. She said, "No one has ever said that to me before." She then took a deep breath and said, "I'm ready. I know this is what I need to do." She didn't need to be convinced. She needed to be seen. She needed her fear to be met with compassion, not with a counter-argument. The practice of compassionate closing is a practice of deep presence and empathy. It requires you to release your attachment to the outcome completely. Your only attachment is to the well-being of the person in front of you. You must genuinely be okay with whatever they decide, because you trust in their sovereignty and in the wisdom of their path. This is the ultimate act of service. It communicates to the client on the deepest possible level, "I am here for you, not for your money. Your transformation is more important to me than this transaction." When a person feels that level of genuine care and respect, the trust that has been building throughout the entire conversation solidifies into a powerful bond. And from that space of trust and compassion, the right decision for them will naturally and effortlessly emerge. Chapter 11. The 11th Law. The Ritual of Intentional Connection. Our modern world is addicted to speed and scale. In business, we're taught to automate, to systematize, to remove the human element wherever possible in the name of efficiency. We create email funnels and automated sequences, all designed to move a lead through a pipeline with as little personal contact as possible. While some of these tools can be useful, an over-reliance on them can strip the soul from our commerce. It can turn a sacred dialogue into a sterile transaction. The 11th alchemical law is a potent antidote to this dehumanization. It is the commitment to weaving ritual and intentional connection into your client relationships. A ritual is simply an action performed with intention, awareness, and a sense of the sacred. It transforms a mundane act into a meaningful one. When you bring the spirit of ritual into your business, you elevate every interaction. You signal to your clients and to the universe that this is not just business, this is sacred work. This doesn't have to be complex. It is about finding small moments to infuse with presence and care. For example, before you send a proposal or an important email to a potential client, don't just type it and hit send. Pause. Take a breath. Close your eyes. Bring the image of the person to your mind. Hold a clear intention for them. It could be something as simple as, may this communication bring clarity and support to their journey. May it be received in the spirit of service in which it is offered. Then, with that intention held in your heart, click send. This small invisible act changes the energetic signature of the communication. It infuses it with care. This practice can be woven into the entire client journey. Consider your onboarding process. Is it a cold, automated email with a list of instructions? Or is it a sacred threshold? You could create a beautiful, personalized welcome packet. You could record a short, personal video message welcoming them to the journey. You could send a small physical gift, a book, a crystal, a special blend of tea that symbolizes the work you are about to do together. These are not marketing gimmicks. They are rituals of welcome. They say, I see you, I honor your commitment. Our journey together has already begun. Consider your offboarding process. When your work with a client is complete, do they just disappear? Or do you create a ritual of completion? You could schedule a final call, not to sell them anything else, but simply to reflect on their journey, to celebrate their growth, and to bless their path forward. You could write them a heartfelt letter, acknowledging their courage and their transformation. This ritual of closure provides a sense of honor and completion, turning a finished contract into a lifelong connection. I know a business consultant who works with high-level executives. Before every single client session, he lights a candle on his desk. He says it is a ritual to remind him that he is entering a sacred space, a space where truth and transformation are possible. His clients don't see the candle, but they feel its effect. They feel his presence, his focus, his deep commitment to the work. The ritual holds the space. Your invitation is to look at your own business processes. Where can you replace automation with intention? Where can you replace efficiency with connection? It might be in the way you begin a call, with a minute of shared, silent presence, instead of immediately diving into the agenda. It might be in the way you celebrate client milestones, with a personal, handwritten note instead of a generic email. These acts of intentional connection are what create true client devotion. People may forget what you said, but they will never forget how you made them feel. In a world that is increasingly automated and impersonal, the decision to be intentionally and ritually human is a radical act. It is what separates a forgettable transaction from a transformational relationship. It is how you build a business that doesn't just earn you a living, but also deeply nourishes your soul and the souls of those you are privileged to serve. Chapter 12. The 12th Law. The Soulful Entrepreneur's Creed. We have journeyed through 11 laws, 11 principles of alchemical transformation. We have reframed our understanding of commerce, listening, value, and connection. We have gathered the tools to transmute fear, to build trust, and to act with integrity. Now we arrive at the final law, the one that binds all the others together. It is not a technique or a strategy, it is a way of being. It is an identity. The 12th and final alchemical law is the embodiment of the Soulful Entrepreneur's Creed. This creed is a declaration of who you choose to be in the marketplace. It is a set of guiding principles that you live by, a vow that you make to yourself, to your clients, and to the spirit of your work. It ensures that no matter what challenges or opportunities arise, you remain anchored in your truth. This creed has 3 core tenets: integrity, patience, and inner guidance. First, integrity. The soulful entrepreneur vows to operate in unwavering integrity. This means your yes is a yes, and your no is a no. It means you under-promise and over-deliver. It means you are transparent in your communication and honest about your capabilities. It means you would rather lose a sale than compromise your principles. Integrity is your fortress. It is the energetic structure that makes your business unshakable, because it is built not on the shifting sands of market trends, but on the solid rock of your character. It means that who you are in private is the same person who shows up in public. There is no mask, no persona. There is only you, whole and integrated. Second, patience. The soulful entrepreneur vows to honor the rhythm of divine timing. You release the desperate, frantic energy of, "I need it now." You understand that a business, like a garden, cannot be forced to grow faster than its nature allows. It requires seeding, watering, nurturing, and waiting. You trust the process. You are not swayed by the instant success stories you see on social media. You are playing a different game, an infinite game. You focus on the daily practice of showing up, serving well, and planting seeds of trust, knowing that the harvest will come in its own perfect time. This patience is a balm to your nervous system. It allows you to make decisions from a place of wisdom, not from a place of fear or lack. It is a profound act of faith. Third, inner guidance. The soulful entrepreneur vows to trust their intuition as their primary business advisor. You may study strategies, you may hire mentors, but at the end of the day, you filter every piece of advice through your own inner knowing. You cultivate a deep connection to that still, small voice within. You learn to discern the difference between the voice of fear and the voice of wisdom. Before making any significant decision, you create space, you meditate, you walk in nature. You journal, you ask your higher self, is this action in the highest alignment for me and for all those I serve? And you wait for the answer that feels clear and resonant in your body. Your intuition is your most reliable compass. When you learn to trust it implicitly, you can never truly be lost. This creed, integrity, patience, and inner guidance is your true north. It is what you return to when you are confused, discouraged, or tempted by a shortcut that feels slightly out of alignment. It is the measure of your success, far more important than any number in your bank account. To be a soulful entrepreneur is to accept that your business is not separate from your spiritual path. It is your spiritual path. It is the grand arena where you get to practice everything you believe. Every interaction is an opportunity to practice compassion. Every financial decision is an opportunity to practice trust in abundance. Every marketing message is an opportunity to practice speaking your truth. This is the ultimate alchemy. It is the transmutation of your daily work into a living prayer, a moving meditation. It is the realization that the way you do business is the most powerful sermon you will ever preach. Outro. your sacred contribution. And so, we arrive at the end of our journey through these 12 laws, but at the true beginning of your work. These principles are not a checklist to be completed, but a philosophy to be embodied. They are a compass to guide you back to your own sacred center whenever you feel lost in the noise of the marketplace. We have learned that commerce can be a sacred dialogue, that listening is an act of love, and that your offer is a vessel for your service. We have reframed rejection as redirection and replaced the pressure to close with the practice of compassion. We have committed to integrity, patience, and our own inner guidance as our highest authorities. The path of the soulful entrepreneur is not the easiest path. It demands consciousness. It demands courage. It demands that you heal your own wounds around worthiness and wealth so that you can be a clear channel for the work that wishes to come through you. But it is the most rewarding path. It is the path that leads to a success that is not hollow, but holy. A prosperity that nourishes not just your bank account, but your soul. Your work, your gift, your unique contribution is desperately needed in a world that is starving for authenticity and heart. Do not let the false conflict between spirituality and commerce keep you from sharing it. You now have the framework. You now have the laws of alchemy. Go forth and build a business that is a beautiful, true, and powerful reflection of who you are. The world is waiting. As you continue on this path, your journey of learning is just beginning. The work of building a soul-aligned business is multifaceted. On the left, you will find our playlist, The Alchemist's Treasury, filled with more practical guides just like this one. And on the right, I have personally selected our audiobook, The 10 Alchemical Steps to Build Spiritually Aligned Multiple Income Streams for Lasting Wealth, as the perfect next step to translate the principles you've learned today into tangible financial structures. If this work has resonated with you, I invite you to subscribe and join our community of alchemists. There is so much more to explore together. This is Elias Vance, reminding you, the greatest wealth you will ever own is the knowledge of who you truly are.